do with our hosting. So the data that we're able to produce, it's a very unique type of data signature, unique identifier. But being able to store it as it continues to grow with the sessions is becoming something that will come about pretty soon. A magical tool I wish I had that could fix my problems is something that could handle hosting the data that we're producing. And I will be traveling to Houston for Christmas.
Good to meet you.
Thanks.
My name's Eric. I live here in Austin. Basically what I'm working on right now is that I have an interactive product design UX design studio, and I'm relaunching that. I've been working with a few clients of my own for the past few years, but I took a little hiatus this year, and so I'm in the process of basically rebuilding that studio and launching in the new year. So just kind of pulling together a lot of my strategy and so on and so forth, and I'm using a lot of AI to kind of help leverage with that process, particularly when it comes around to content and working with strategy and so forth. So that's why I'm very interested in what's going on with this class. What pain point are you dealing with in your business? I mean, a lot of it right now is just getting things done, a lot of speed, and so on. There's just a lot to it. You know, it's like visual designs, interaction, strategy, content. It's a lot of stuff to pull together as a solo person. So I'm just trying to get that done as quickly as possible. And you know, AI is doing a great job. I mean, if I was doing this the way I was doing it, say like 10 years ago, it would be taking considerably, more time. Magical tool that I wish I could have to fix my problems. I mean, are we talking specifically in the realm of like business here, or like day-to-day life? I don't know, but like I guess for like business, it would be something probably more related to connecting with potential clients, sales-oriented, helping grow the business that way. Traveling. I mean, I'll be in Santa Fe actually. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I am working on building a coaching business. I don't know where to find clients. Magical tool. I don't know. I don't like vacuuming. And I don't know that the robots do a very good job yet. I'm not sure yet. I'm either going to be here or in LA. TBD.
Okay, great. I'm passing around the sign-in sheet, so if you can raise hand.
I can go next. My name's Cannon from Kentucky. I just moved here in Austin in January. I actually dropped out of college. I was in my sophomore year at Cincinnati, and I was studying economics. Decided to kind of drop out, start my own business, and learn a bit more on the technical side of software development. And right now, so the first 6 months I lived here, I worked on an automation agency using like N8N for home service businesses. Pretty basic stuff, just learning the ropes. And then I'm 2 months into my new project where I'm building out a sales training app for door-to-door companies, so their reps can have like unlimited role play with AI homeowners. So. And then pain point, right now MVP is done, have about 50 active users, but really just marketing and developing like a iOS app.
Okay.
Yeah. And then magical tool, if there was a tool where you could just take your website and turn it into an iOS app right away, that'd be pretty cool. But
I think
we're getting close.
Yeah.
I think
and then or a magical tool that gives you some $1 million in seed funding, whatever it is. Then I'm going back home for Christmas to Kentucky.
Nice. Very cool.
Hey, my name is Pete Park. I'm from Silicon Valley. I relocated to Dallas last year, and I'm working on a project in which we built a all-in-one business platform. So I come from doing consulting with Oracle, Salesforce, Adobe for many years, worked with very large companies. So I was in the weeds digging with like data normalization and just making sure everything integrates correctly. And so we built this platform that just does everything: CRM, marketing, website, payments, etc. So going back to Silicon Valley a lot, what I one thing to Tom Jacqueline. There was a ex-FANG engineer that was saying that the future of software is going to be based upon results. So when you hear that, it sounds like sales. No more free lunch, licenses and feature. You gotta pay because of the features. Maybe for certain ones, like CRM, very, very specialized one. But when it comes to like CRM itself, they were just saying like, yeah, you need to meet the KPIs, because what you see a lot of times, you have like whether it's Oracle, Adobe, or HubSpot, you name it. You give that software with all of the different features, and you justify that by saying because we're so good. But at the end of the day, it all depends on who if the employees can do that, if the employees can be able to understand how to look at the data and be able to execute it and so forth. So if you look at the TCO, total cost of ownership, it's not just software, it's like the person. So basically what we're doing is that we're going one step beyond, knowing that the future is going to be the AI agents. We know that, right? So if that's the future, and then it seems like all the analysts are saying the future is going to be managed services, which we were going to do anyways for years, right? Building our platform on. Then what we are going to do is like, we'll have a team overseas that will do all the back office for the business, and we're just simply going to say, okay, nobody will know the software better than we do. I don't know anybody who does software that's going to say, oh yeah, I spent the whole weekend working on Salesforce or Adobe or Oracle, and hey boss, I did all these connections for you. I'm not going to do that. Who's going to do that? So everybody else, when it comes to software, at most, for software, at most 25% of the total. Nobody's going to get like totally So we're saying no, we will, because our team's going to know everything about the software. So that means already we have an advantage. So now what we do is we go to the business owner and say, hey, business owner, let's look at your business. And then we're going to figure out how to make it more profitable, because it's already embedded that we know the software, plus we do it. And then we're not going to train anybody. It's our domain. That's our mode. We don't know the knowledge.
Nice. Okay.
Anyways, magical tool I wish I had. I'm in sales mode now, so I drove from Dallas today. Dropped, so I saw this. So I drove down, I'm doing hardcore. And I go to Houston, same thing, I'm on the sales kickoff. Just like hitting people. And then I wish I had, we analyze so many ICPs on ChatGPT. And sometimes we go in and okay, yeah, it didn't work out. I wish I had a tool that basically, the ICP that came from AI was actually accurate enough for which, okay. This is going to help time on it, but there's no way to do that. Travel, yeah, I'll be traveling.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks.
Hey everybody, my name's Gavin. I've lived here in Austin the last decade. I'm from Oregon. I'm a recovering attorney. And I build tech companies now. I got addicted to hackathons here, and been building companies the last 10 years. And I do a little angel investing as well. I'm working on 2 IP ventures, and I'll keep it super short. First one is helping people file patents. I've never done that before. And the second one is helping content owners file copyrights, because everything you put on your blog or your website is now being scraped. It's getting me into some interesting discussions, and I'll be filing a lawsuit on behalf of a whole bunch of content creators against some of the major LLMs. I don't know if you guys saw the Anthropic settlement with the book authors. I work with the exact same law firm doing the same thing for bloggers. Pain point, I would like a sleep button. That's the magical tool I need. I have 6 kids, so it's like trying to pull off 2 businesses and
They're all lawyers?
One's in college already, but he's gonna be a pilot. So yeah, magical tool. Honestly, just anything to help with, ADHD. Traveling, I'm taking my wife and kids to Bentonville. I went there. Everyone's been to Bentonville, Arkansas. Walmart HQ. It's actually a cute little town. It's an incredible museum.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Back.
Hi, I'm Krista. I'm originally from California. I'm more freelance, so I'm kind of trying to dabble into solopreneurship. But it's mostly made to order, so I'm a seamstress, but I also do design, pattern making, sourcing, finding factories and material. I'm an apprentice tailor, so I really am interested in the idea of manufacturing in the US, even though it's extremely expensive. I think that would be a really neat new venture for us. So I'm just doing freelance, low MOQs, just
Okay.
making examples for startups, startup designers. And pain point would be marketing. I would say finding the clients, letting them know about like what I'm doing and branding that. Magical tool to fix problems, ADHD. That's really a good one. That's probably why I work for myself. And then I am going to San Antonio.
All right, great. All right, so everybody wrote down their notes? We're good? All right, perfect. Let's keep going. All right, so here's some Solopreneur news that I kind of found, right? Hopefully you can see that. So right now, I'm sure everybody has known about that bet about who's going to be the first Solopreneur unicorn that's going around, right? And they're saying like we're pretty close to something like that happening within the next year or two maybe. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. One of the companies that basically started their business was creating apps through a website. So it's like a prompt app, right? And what's crazy is I did that class like last summer, right? Not this summer, but like the summer before, like how to create a text to app prompt. And that company somehow disappeared, right? Which was weird because like it was a phenomenal tool where like I could just type in what I wanted. It built the entire thing. It gave you access to the code. It showed you what it was doing. You could type and change things and do all that stuff, right? And all of a sudden they changed and they went into AI agents, right? So when I showed that class, everybody sort of was just like shocked that we had come so far so fast, right? So there was a company they talked about in that article that basically within 4 months, they were already bought out for 80 million, right? And basically it was a tool that just is able to build apps and websites super fast, right? Basically text to website, kind of, right? So it's happening more and more where you're starting to see younger people build stuff with AI and then basically sell the hell out of it on social media. But they're not selling it in terms of come buy this. It's here's what our product does. Here's who we're looking for. Like they're doing social media, right? And these people are coming around and basically these kind of not necessarily investors, but these firms who are big companies, they're like, we want your technology. Just so we don't have competition. Right? When you're 19 years old and they flash a $50 million check in your face, you're gonna take it. Right? And more young guys do that. Right? There's entire groups now of guys who go to San Francisco, they rent a big house, they basically just grind it out, and they go around having meetings and basically say, hey, I'm going to promote this on social media, and they wait for a buyer. Right? Is it hard to do that today? Not necessarily. Right? The thing that I found very interesting is everyone here has basically said, I need to find clients. Right? And what's interesting to me is that how I find clients is probably, to me, like common sense, right? But I've never done cold emails. I've never done like go buying lists and sending out lists. I've never done any of that stuff before, right? And yet there was an article that came out in TechCrunch about here's a value-driven way to getting clients. And I read the article and I was like, this was in a book 20 years ago. What do you mean go have lunch with somebody? I was like shocked that this wasn't a TechCrunch article, right? And yet, that is probably the quickest way to start developing relationships. But no, nobody wants to do that. They want to sit there and cold email all day long and play the numbers game. Does that work? I guess if you're 16, you know? But what's crazy is that it doesn't. And yet, guys will go out there and buy lists. And they'll be like, I bought this list, it's got 50,000 emails on it, I'm going to sit there and grind it out and just see who responds back. Why? Right? So the other day, this person came up to me and they're just like, hey, you know what? I want to get 10 clients in 2 weeks. I'm like, great, I can tell you exactly how to do that. So who here knows the Gmail limit per day?
The what?
The Gmail limit.
50?
100? That's 100, right? Who here sits there every day hitting that limit? So there was a guy that was interviewed here, right, on a podcast. When he was 18 and all his friends were going out getting drunk and partying, he was sitting there testing the limits of Gmail. And he would go on Gmail, and every night he would be like, I'm going to hit 100. And I'm going to email every single person that has some executive title in their name. Right? What do you think he was doing? He's 18 years old. He has no skills. He's still in school. Remember, he didn't really offer anything. But now he makes 6 figures, 7 figures easily. Right? He's obviously in his late 20s. But how did he do that? This is the part that's very interesting to me because this is why I got a psychology degree and I got the hell out of engineering. What did he do in those emails?
What was his offering? What was his service or product?
He's 18. He has no skills.
So it's just saying, hey, like, what was
So that's the question here. What was he doing?
What was okay?
This is the part that I've learned most people don't do. Right? If I go to you and it's like, hey, I sell AI training services. Are you interested? Who's comfortable with that? Not many people, right? That's a direct sell, right? Hey, I'd like to go out and talk to you about what I'm working on. Would you be interested in having coffee sometime? I'd like to know more about like what you think of the site. Most people don't do that. What he did was, I'm 18 years old. I don't know what I want to major in college. I saw what you do. Hey, how's it going? I'd like to take you out for coffee, my treat, and I want you to tell me, how did you get to where you were? If you have 10 minutes to spare, I would appreciate your time. If not, I would appreciate if you could just answer these 5 questions for me, right? What do you think happened to his life? Right? I'm not selling anything. But his network is all executives around the world. And that's all he did, right? Hey, I have this product, can I get your input on it, right? Some guy who runs some major manufacturing firm in Africa takes 15 minutes out of his day. Yes, I love it, can we have a meeting? He's not trying to sell anything. He's not trying to pitch anything, right? But the amount of deals he closed because of his network connections and sitting in his room and hitting that Gmail limit every night, right? Any questions? I know you have questions.
So just to make sure I understand what you're saying, he reached out to all these executives. He's like, hey, I would like to learn how you got where you're at, what you're doing. If you don't have the time, can you answer these 5 questions, please? And by virtue of doing that, he developed a network. Like what? Through like LinkedIn or just his emails?
He sat on
like,
LinkedIn and he went there and he figured out how do I get their emails, and then he went to Gmail and just started emailing them.
So then by virtue of having that network in the future, whenever he was doing whatever else he decided he wanted to do, he had a network of executives,
Right.
and that made it a lot easier. Okay.
Exactly, right? Because he could lean on them and go like, hey, I'm starting this in class right here. I know we talked about that when we had our meeting. Can you tell me, is that how it's done today, right? Imagine having a CEO right there telling you, who runs a Fortune 100 company, actually, you know what, that's not true, that textbook is wrong. Let me show you how we do it. Would you like to come visit? People don't do that, right?
My question is, what year was this? Do you know?
So he was 18, I think, probably like 2014, 2013 or something, right? This was not AI, right? Like, this was not around that time, right? So he was basically just going through and taking advantage of all that stuff. Now, my question is, who here knows the blog? And if you do know this, I would be very shocked by this. Who knows the blog 52 Cups of Coffee? Any idea what 52 means?
2 weeks.
There you go. Right? So there was this girl, she was in college and she had no idea what she really wanted to do in life. So she was like, I'm going to email every CEO in my city and ask for a cup of coffee with them. And she would take that meeting and then she would turn it into a blog about what she learned. How did she use that to build her blog? Because she had just randomly emailed a ton of CEOs and hoped that somebody responded back? This is the part that people don't actually pay attention to. What did she do that made it so successful that ended up traveling the world and writing a book and becoming a public speaker after all this? At the end of every meeting, what do you think she said? This is the key part here. Anybody want to try to guess? If you have a master's, this should come to you right away.
So what was her CTA? What was her call to action?
Who would you recommend I talk to next? Because that got her a warm intro to the next person, that built her entire network right there. So we're pretty close to the first unicorn, by the way. Alright, so if you're interested, these are the exact titles of these articles, right? So ChatGPT's new browser interface can basically act like a new assistant in your company. If you've ever used Atlas, yes, what do you think of it? It's amazing, right?
Yeah, I will say, I think it's a bit of a learning hurdle just
Okay.
because you have to use it differently. It's not like Google, like Chrome, like, it's just a different experience, but I really like how I can have a sidebar and select text, and then it'll actually act on my behalf for agent mode. Has been really helpful.
Sure, absolutely. So how would you compare that to Comment?
I haven't gotten into Comment.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Alright.
Just Atlas.
Cool. Anybody else tried Atlas, played with it, thought like this is amazing, it did everything for me, I can go to bed early? So, yeah, the power of one, right here, this is a survey. They kind of went out and talked to solopreneurs and said, hey, what are you kind of dealing with? What's going on? And again, a lot of them are dealing with how do I get clients, right? How do I do that kind of stuff? And again, like I told you, I've never cold emailed stuff, right? Like I don't really do a lot of that stuff. I don't buy lists. That's crazy to even think that people do that. But that's their challenges, like how do I get clients and how do I get recurring clients that are basically like, you know, worthy of my time, right? So the other one is the rise, like building a career without employees, which basically is now turning into how do I build AI agents that kind of work together, right? I talked to a lot of architects, I talked to a lot of engineering firms. I asked them how do they train their AI agents to help them work with their workflows, and what do you think I get back? See, this tells me a lot about how people use AI and why training is so important, right? They will tell me they upload all their employee manuals and their documents and what they're working on and all this stuff. I'm like, cool, that's great. And he's like, so it must work perfectly, right? He's like, oh no, it makes mistakes, it does this. I'm like, so why don't you just show up what you're doing? AI can see, right? It can watch what you're doing. But who does that, right? And he had no idea AI can do that. I'm like, you do realize AI can see. Like, it's not deaf and blind, right? It can see what you do. It can watch what's going on and say, hey, I'm going to show you what my morning routine looks like. I want you to build an AI agent out of that. Who here has done that? At least that part.
A share screen then. Like
It's basically watching your screen. Like, you have the browser, right? It can see what you're doing, right? It can watch what you're doing, and it can build an agent from that process, right? Why do you need to upload manuals? But who does that, right? Now do you see why it's so important? AI training.
Is it when you create like a GPT? Is that what you mean? Oh.
Right. Because again, the power of GPT is basically is what after that? By itself, it's what? Nothing, right? But where does its power come from? Feel free to talk. No.
No? I think it's not.
It's something else. Where does the power of a GPT come from?
The user?
No.
Prediction.
It's when you connect it to another GPT.
There you go.
Yeah. Like if I build two custom agents, right? One is for legal, one is for marketing, right? And I teach them how to talk to each other. Guess what? I have a team now, right? Who has learned how to do that? See? Because now you can build another agent that does a very specific task very well, right? And it can go back to the other one and say, hey, is this done correctly, right? Who here has built an agent that just does error checking, right?
Yeah.
That's where the power comes in. Like it's cool to build agents, right? But now the power is it's connecting them, right? So they work together. So that's why the bottom one right there, how AI tools empower today's solopreneurs, is showing you like basically here are tools now where you can connect them. Who here has used Crew AI? I mean they've been around for a while, but Crew AI basically is like a team of AI agents that you can purchase, right? And you can go in there and select like marketing, graphics, legal, you know, schematic design engineer, like whatever roles you need, right? And then basically you go in, you upload your training stuff, and Crew AI sort of has a database already built in with a background understanding like that one field, right? And then you can kind of like string them together, and then they can basically work as a team, right? And they've been doing that for, I don't know how long, what, 4 or 5 years now? But they're amazing, right? So you can basically purchase a team, right, in a sense. So, all right, so upcoming events. Tomorrow is the State of Tech in Texas. So that is put on by the Austin Chamber of Commerce. So if you're interested in learning like what's going on for tech in Texas, that's happening tomorrow, right? My event, which I have to plug, which is next Monday, Digital Nomad Lifestyle, will be the last one for the year, right? So it's sort of like a recap for people who travel the world, work from a laptop, that kind of thing, right? Austin Shopify Meetup, that's December 17th. Why is that important to know? Because everyone sells online, right? And if you don't know how to build a Shopify store, it is not 2010 anymore. Go learn it, right? It's a very important skill. So those guys right there, I've been to many of their events. They host a morning and an evening one. The evening one tends to be a lot bigger, right? And you do meet some people who are doing some pretty cool stuff with Shopify, and most of them all do between 6 and 7 figures in their stores. So, networking breakfast, December 18th. That one's pretty cool. It is a paid event, just to let you know. And then Austin AI Tinkerers, which will be next week as well at 6 p.m. So,
would you recommend, I mean, the State of Tech in Texas, I've come across that a few times. I wasn't sure if that was something like, what's the value you get out of that?
It shows you more like policy making, right? Yeah. Like it shows you like what's going on, where the movers and shakers are.
Okay.
Who's getting more funding, right? Who here keeps track of all the basically VC deals in Texas? Anybody? Right, okay, all right. So basically there's a list that goes out every month that just shows you what every company gets funding for tech and AI and all that stuff. And they kind of cover a little bit like what that is, what companies are getting more funding versus other ones, right? And if you are trying to chase the money, build towards what people are investing in, right? And then cash out, right? So, any other questions? No. All right, so solopreneur struggles, right? It is a real deal. And again, please ask questions, right? I don't want this to be like by the script. The point of this is sort of like a recap for the year. So anything you have, suggestions, otherwise, ask me questions, right? Because I've covered so much of this stuff, right? So, every single one faces a lot of problems, right? The biggest problem solopreneurs face is what?
Doing everything.
Doing everything yourself, by yourself, in a cubicle, or in the library, or wherever. And you're wondering, why is this not fun? I saw the social network, why am I not having fun, right? Where are my billions of dollars? And then you find out it's just you, right? And you are basically there trying to tell the world why they should give a crap about you, right? And why they should give you money or pay for your services, right? And that's the solopreneur life, right? And now we have AI tools to do all kinds of stuff, right? So imagine what that was like before AI, right? Who here has read, and I hope all hands go up, the 4-Hour Workweek? Okay, good. See? Okay, yeah, exactly. When did that book come out? Ages ago, right? And he has since updated it, right? But you go back and read it, and you look at this now, and you're like, man, there's so much I can do with AI in that book now, right? There's so many things that he has. He literally lays out entire workflows of how you should work as a solopreneur. And you can go in with AI now and be like, hey, read this book, build me this workflow, and then go find me the people to do that, and let me know when you're done. I'm going to go make a sandwich, right? Well, we're there now, right? So now it's the idea of just like, well, your mindset, the systems, it's not necessarily the money is the problem, it's how do you set up everything to be productive and to get a value of return, right? I meet many solopreneurs who are just like, well, I need a co-founder. I need a technical co-founder. How many times have you heard that? Right? I'm not technical. I just need the guy to build it so I can go sell it. Right? If you hear that one, by the way, it's always interesting because I can't even tell you how many times people call me every week. Be like, hey, look, you know how to build this stuff. I will hire you, right, to build everything, and then I will go sell it. I'm like, right, because I've never seen a movie that does that, right? So, and then you turn around and you're just like, so what are you going to do exactly? Well, I'm going to wait for you to finish. Oh, this is great. This is fantastic, right? So again, who here has sat down with AI late at night, you know, and talking to it and be like, hey, I want you to, let's go over my business idea, right? I want you to tell me, am I really crazy for thinking this is a great idea? Or actually find out, is what I'm doing legit? Who here has actually done that?
Yeah, I found that because they're so people-pleasing, like adversarial prompts, like asking to critique these ideas or take an opposing viewpoint, that's helped me refine my thinking. Because sometimes you get in these feedback loops where you think you're genius, and then you change the prompts and
all right. So how do you fix that?
Like, how do you fix the
feeling
of euphoria? Yeah.
How do you fix that? Because this is the part people forget, right? How do you fix that problem?
Well, one is like get out of the building and go talk to people in that industry.
Okay.
Which is helpful. Like customer discovery and actually talking to people that will buy whatever you're gonna try to build. But within AI itself, it's kind of adversarial. It's can you red team this? Can you critique it? If you were to launch a competitor today, what would you do differently in my approach?
If you had all the money in the world, would that change how you work with AI?
Oh yeah.
In what way?
Just the scale at which I work. Like right now I have a company and we're sending 2,500 cold emails a day. And you said it was crazy.
That is crazy.
It's converting for us.
Right.
So we're making about $50,000 a day off of our flow.
Right.
Because we realized we had product market fit. We knew like manually doing this would be a pain in the ass. I didn't want to give up equity or hire a bunch of employees. And so I set up a cold sequence, and for now it's working. And it won't work forever. But in this use case, it works great.
Who here has watched the video, How Billionaires Use AI Every Day? Oh, they're looking it up. Look at that. It's an important video, right? That's why I asked you that question, right? Because one of the things that I learned about AI was when the keynote speaker for SoftBank was talking about how he uses AI. He says, when I talk to AI, I always have it role play my competitors. Because I need to know what they're thinking. I don't have it talk like it's an employee in my company. I have it talk as they're a competitor to me. I need to know how I need to be working today. So when I talk to AI, it talks as if it's a competitor to what I'm doing. Hey, this is what we're working on today. You better start working on this, otherwise we're gonna beat you, right? It's like, I don't want it to be nice. I want it to tell me what I don't know, what I need to pay attention to, and if I'm messing up, I want it to be honest with me, right? And that's why I asked you that, right? So when you said, I go talk to people, I said, just change his personality. Like, just turn it into like, who is your competitor? And be like, what am I not doing that's not keeping me in the market, right? So now all of a sudden you start to realize, like, if it starts talking to you like it's your competitor, now you realize you better have something worth selling, right? Otherwise, your competitor is going to be ahead of you. And here's why, right? So, solopreneur burnout is a real thing because you sit there and you're just like, man, you know, I've been trying this, I've been doing this, it's not working, right? And a lot of times they view it as just like, well, it's so nice to me, it's just so helpful, right? Don't be helpful, right? Like, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Like, what do I need to be doing, right? If I'm not converting, tell me to get the hell out of my house, go do something, right? And a lot of times I tell solopreneurs, today I want you to go email 5 people that you know that say, hey, who do you know that's in this field that I should talk to? Right? Get that warm intro. How many times have you gone to a Chamber of Commerce event and gone to the person who's like the top there of like some CEO company, right? And be like, hey, can I just take you out for lunch? I want to know, what did you do to land your last big deal? Who does that here? I do, right? There's no shame in asking that, right? You know why? They're going to say yes. It's basic psychology. Everybody likes talking about themselves.
Can you elaborate a little more on getting AI to talk like your competitors? Is there?
So do you have a paid version?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're in audio mode, say, hey, look, I'm going to be role playing with you. I want you to take on my competitors. My industry is such and such, right?
Sure.
I want you to go find me my competitors and take on their personality, and we're going to role play what I'm working on. And you tell me what I'm not seeing.
Okay, gotcha. So that's like the key point. It's like, where's the insights come from? So, okay.
Right, because remember, the thing that people forget is AI can see all kinds of stuff on the internet that we are not aware of, right? It can see data that we don't know exists. And when you don't know what you don't know, guess what? You're never going to know how to find it, right? Hence why you need training. So now you have an idea of like, how do I role play? How do I go through this stuff? And figure out like, is it different when it's 7 a.m. versus when it's 9 p.m., right? They say, hey, like it's 9 p.m., I'm at the end of my day, I want to cover like what I missed today. What did my competitors do today that I didn't know anything about, right? They can check the news, they can check deals, they can check all kinds of things, right?
Depending on your industry, one thing that I found that helps too is it's similar to competition, but you basically make it like a time traveler. And you're basically saying if this industry continues on its path based on academic journals, scientific research, breaking news, etc., like what will change in the next 5 years?
Gotcha.
And then target that because you're more likely to be disrupted by your unicorn solopreneur than you will be by IBM.
Sure.
I always make it ground stuff in reality and sources, things that are actually linkable. That always helps a lot.
Yeah, I do that. I get it to give me a percentage of confidence and also links and different things like that as well. Yeah.
So about 4 months ago, I did the whole growth projection plan in class here, right? So I said everybody's going to do a 6-month growth projection plan with AI, and we're going to sit down and say, hey, this is where I want to be in 6 months, right? And many people in the class have never done this before, right? So I said, what do you want to have in your business in 6 months, right? Is it number of clients? Is it amount of revenue? Like what is success to you? What's your metric, right? So I said, now that we have that, we're going to create a blueprint of what that looks like, right? We're going to break it down per month of what your milestones are. And now we're going to break it down per week. And then I'm going to give you a daily action plan of what you need to do. And that was the part that people woke up and realized, shit, tomorrow I have to do this. And they're like, that was my laundry day. And then they find out this is what it means to be a soldier, right? You need an action plan. It has to have actionable steps, right? And also they realized there were so many things they were just not aware of about their industry that they were not doing, right? So many people were very happy to see that they had an action plan for 6 months. And they said they understood, like, if I didn't hit my milestone for the first month, I'm not doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, right? So,
do you have a preference for this type of work? You know, is it chat? Is it Claude? Is it something like what is?
So what's funny is like I use Copilot.
Okay.
Who knows what Copilot actually is?
Isn't it fun?
No. Who owns Copilot? Microsoft. What partnership does Microsoft have? OpenAI, right? So what is Copilot? ChatGPT, right? And why is Copilot different from everything else?
It's integrated into your Microsoft stack.
Very good. What else? This is the part I've learned people have no idea, because whenever I use Copilot in class, one guy was just like, why are you using Copilot? Like, he felt like he was dirty. Like, he was just like, this is crazy. Like, what's going on here, right? Copilot gives you the latest version of ChatGPT for free, right? Nobody seems to know that. And I'm like, you do realize they have $1 billion partnership. What made you think they didn't do that, right? Copilot is just like a shell of a product, right? And you can go in there and select whatever model you want to use. You can do the deep research, you can do all that stuff, and you can have unlimited image generations, videos, all that stuff, and it has been built into Windows since the beginning of the partnership. right? And it blows my mind that people do not know that. And I'm like, if you really knew AI, you would know they had a partnership from the beginning, right? So when you click on Copilot, you can go select what model you want, and it always has the latest model for free that you can use.
Is that the part that sells it for you? I mean, do you think that that compares to, say, Claude?
I use it because it's convenient. Like when I need to do bigger stuff, I will go to Perplexity, I might go to Claude, I will even go to DeepSeek, right? What's interesting about DeepSeek and all the Chinese models is that they are free, and they are way better than most American products, right? As long as you're not giving up personal information, which I've learned most people freak out about these products, right? And it's not proprietary information, go use them. They're free, right? Like DeepSeek free model is the same thing as the $200 model from OpenAI, right? Why not go use it, right? Like if you're just doing simple research, what's the problem?
Like industry research, that kind of thing, yeah.
Right, you know? Go take advantage of it, right? Who here knows about all the AI models for the big companies in China? Because they're huge, right? Anybody? Okay, who knows TikTok?
Yeah. Oh, ByteDance.
What did ByteDance do recently? You know, they have a massive AI model, right? That is like, it's impressive, right? It is massive inside, right? It is phenomenal. Nobody here knows about it, right? But they too are a competitor to DeepSeek, right? Just like Alibaba is a competitor to all the other ones, right? But they have big AI models, right? But who here is using them, right? Go play with them, they're free, right? So, but yes, to answer your question, it depends on the task, right? When I need simple stuff done, I will always go back to Copilot, right? And I will always use the latest ChatGPT version, right?
Not to diverge too much, but do you have an opinion with regards to like video and image generation?
If you can get on Sora, do Sora.
Do you like Nano Banana?
I do, right? Yeah. Like all of it, like Nano Banana is now integrated into so many like editing software, right? And people love it, right? Like the other day I sat down with somebody, they had no idea AI image generation thing was real. And we got to watch all the cats committing crimes. They could not believe how real it looked, right? Because it literally just looked like a cat stealing some fish from the table, right? They're like, no, that's real. That's real. I was like, no. Right? There was a cat working on Target. Right?
It's always about the cat.
It will never not be about the cat, right? So moving on to this right here, right? Like, again, you have to like realize like you have the people who are building certain workflows, doing their certain things, right? And then you have those who are the work from home solopreneurs. They have their office, they have their routine, they wake up 9 a.m., they go into their office, they start their day, right? They gotta feel like they're productive, right? What does Tim Ferriss say about all that? Find your 3 to 4 hour flow period, right? And focus, right? And do all the hard work at that point, and when you hit your stopping point, go do something else, right? Why does he say that? What should you already have with you? It's on the board. A team of virtual assistants, right? Because when you stop, what do? They keep it going, right? You've done all the hard work that you're very good at doing, right? Their job is to keep that going, right? That's what you're paying them for, right? So if they come back to you and say, hey, look, all the stuff that you need to get done, that's what your 3 to 4 hour period is doing. Now they can go do their job, right? So now you're off taking care of the kids or going for a run or going to the gym. They're finishing up the rest of your day, right? That's how you slowly start to scale yourself. But what are they doing in tandem with that now? They're using AI now, right? So now their day and their time is even more productive than when the 4 hour week came out, right? So many of them now you can hire just to do workflows, right? You can have a virtual assistant who literally just builds workflows, right? You say, hey, I need you to be versatile in Make.com or Zapier or NAN or whatever platform you're comfortable with, right? And I want you to build me this workflow, and I want you to connect it with these agents that I built. Let me know when you're done, right? But that's why I get people remote teams, right? If you've ever been to my digital nomad class, right, I build remote teams for people, right? Many people think like, well, I can't afford an assistant. I'm like, why are rich people rich? What are they good at doing? Delegating. Do you really think Bill Gates is sitting in his house right now booking an airline ticket? That man has no idea how that works. He has a team of people that work for him, right? Any questions? So, again, you have to find your period when you work the best, right? There are those who work best at night, best who work in the morning, right after the gym, right? Austin's a very tech-focused, celebrity-focused environment, right? Who here has ever gone running around Ladybird Lake and you see YouTubers running, right? They're not shooting their videos, they're exercising before they go do their job, right? There's a lot of celebrities here, right? A lot of YouTubers, a lot of Instagram, TikTokers, all that stuff. They have a routine as well, right? But I mention this because that's why people burn out, because they're just like, I'm doing the same thing, I'm doing it over and over and over, and there's no results, I'm not getting clients, it's inconsistent, I gotta go get a job. Well, there are no jobs right now, so I don't know what you're gonna do. So, but yeah, any questions so far? All right. So, the solution to a lot of this stuff right here is you're trying to figure out how to work more efficiently, right? If I was to say, like, I do print on demand, right, and I have 3 shops that do print on demand, right? Just to clarify, print on demand is what? Oversaturated, right? It is a very heavily saturated market. But you know what? In 5 years, there's still going to be another batch of people that come in that do print on demand, and they will make a killing. Why? Because they're way more efficient than the person before them, right? So they will figure out, how do I make this even more efficient? Who here has seen a actual print-on-demand store based on current trends that makes a killing? Right? What did you learn from that?
They build community first, and then basically monetize it and use their own community for trend spotting. So anything that became endemic to like its own culture, its own meme, they throw it on a t-shirt fast, and then they scale it up into a whole product line and it got traction.
Okay.
So they had basically no cost from innovating. It was the designer's time. They didn't have to put any inventory behind it.
Okay.
And that led them to becoming one of the biggest sellers of gold and silver in the US.
Yeah.
Putting like basically meme images on the coins.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So let's break it down. I want to see if y'all really know your stuff as a solopreneur, right? Like, remember, Shopify should be your basic skill, right? And as a solopreneur, because it's the most versatile tool to sell stuff with, right? If I wanted to do a print on demand that's based on current trends, what does my workflow look like?
So you need to start with trend spotting. Like, what is your information feed to get current trends? And then you need to.
But I'm lazy. I don't like touching stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So I mean, I build an agent that could go out and scout for you every day.
Okay.
Bring back.
All right.
Scraping. Top social sites, looking at X, moving across. Actually watching a video from TikTok and trying to reports on top of that.
Okay.
To build a macro view.
Okay.
And then from there, like, you then have to figure out how you productize those trends. So what are your SKUs? What's your brand values, brand proposition, and then how do you get, or a lot of us are on the road, is how do you then market once you found those trends and you've decided on your product.
Okay. Anybody else have an idea? Different? Something different? Do y'all agree that an agent should go and grab what is currently trending?
Or they could make predictions about things that might be evolving.
I wouldn't go with predictions because you have no idea if it's going to work or not. Like, you need to make money, right? Like, I need to go and make sure that what I made today sells, right? Otherwise, I'm building a whole bunch of stuff that's hit or miss, right?
I guess I'm just thinking more like a designer.
Okay. But remember, now we have design AI tools, right? So I can go scrape all the information. Here's what's currently trending. What would I do with that information now? Send it to what? Now we can keep it general or we can get very granular here, right? I would take that trending information and I would send it to an AI that says, hey, convert this to memes, right? Now send this to another AI that does images, right? Now I want you to take those images and send it to a virtual assistant that will go place them on shirts, right? And then what happens to the shirts? There's an agent that runs your what? Your SEO, right? Based off of the first agent's actions, right? It's going to go back to that first agent and say, hey, what did you find trending? I need to go build your ads now, right? While this entire workflow is running, it's already building your ads. So by the time it gets to the store and everything's populated, the ads are running, right? Setting that up, it's a pain, right? But does it work? That's why they're making money, right? So the solution here, as you see, is like efficiency, right? You're looking for ways to be very efficient with how things are built now, right? You can go into all kinds of AI stores, right? Who here goes into the OpenAI store every day and sees what's the currently trending ones, right? Nobody? If you're paying for OpenAI, what is wrong with it, right? You literally have access to a store that you're paying for, right? These agents are pre-built by somebody else, right? You can go in and do custom, editing if you want. Go find one that's a Shopify expert and break it down. Go, hey, what part of Shopify are you good at? Is it the design template? Is it the copy template? Like, what are you good at? And then break it out, right? Because you're already paying for it. Might as well use it, right? So that's one example, right? Because print on demand, everybody has heard about drop shipping and all this stuff, right? I always start with that because it's the most popular, right? I always say, like, if you want to build a store, go practice, right? Whatever it is you're doing, go build a drop shipping store based on that, right? You have AI now that can crawl AliExpress, Alibaba, and find all the products that match what you do, and go populate your Shopify store, right? So now you need to build frameworks around all that, right? So your frameworks basically tell you, okay, first of the week of the month, here's everything we need to start doing, right? You need to start basically batching in your calendar. Mondays are for idea generations, right? Or it's for product, analysis. If you do that, right? Services, it's going to be either like, okay, who are my clients coming from and where, right? And what are my best returns, right? Have AI go in, generate reports. One of the interesting things I've seen people do with generating reports with deep research is reading the reports. Why? Why would you do that? Those things are huge. What should you do with that report if you're smart?
TLDR.
Give it back to AI and say, go build it. Why are you giving me that?
I mean, it seems like you're putting a lot of faith in the AI at this point, right? I mean, like, there's going to be a need to, like, give it some oversight. I mean, like, an example that I would use is, like, yeah, I can use AI to generate, copy for whatever, an app, a website, whatever. But I've seen plenty of copy that is generated, and I'm like, that's not good copy, right? And if that had gone out without my oversight, that would have been a problem.
Right.
I would imagine something like this would be even more severe.
Okay, so now we're getting granular, right? Because now the idea is like, okay, it's going to make errors, right? I'm telling you to do this because you need to know what AI is doing. You need to know what it's still not capable of doing. And guess what you do to that? You build an agent that fixes that. It's like an error checker, right? Like, hey, it's going to make these mistakes. I need you to go in when it does the report and check for this, this, and this, right? Before you send it to me, do this, right? It's like a filter, right? And then you can go and you start to realize, okay, I'm doing this because I need to see where we're at, right? Are we going to have the same problems 2 years, 3 years from now? No. Right? It's just going to keep getting better, but you don't know what its limitations are today. When you do know, guess what you do? You build agents around that. right? So you're building those agents that basically go in and error check or fix things, right? Hey, it did this. I'm gonna have you as a research agent. Go in, double check everything that is put in, right? Did it work, did not work? If it didn't, go correct the report, redo it, right? What should you have that error agent also do? If you want to get this granted? Go update the first agent's instructions, right? It made a mistake, have it go back and update its instructions, right? And keep reiterating so it keeps improving on itself, right? So that way you can go back and realize, okay, it's just going to keep getting better and better because it's constantly improving upon itself, right? So once you get those reports, you're pretty much not going to be touching the reports anymore because you've already gone through so many iterations and practices that you realize, okay, now I'm at a point where I can trust the reports enough to be like, hey, go build it. Let me see what you've built now, right? Does it work, right? Keep it in a sandbox, play with it. Is it good enough for production? If you're at a point where it can get to production, guess what? Your agent's working now. Right? Any questions? Because this is the part that's going to take you a while to learn. Right? Like this is the part that you're going to be like, I thought AI was everything. It's only as good as you are. Right? If you don't know what you don't know, guess what's going to happen? It's going to make mistakes. Right? And you're going to have to play with it, practice with it, and test it out. Right? So again, going further, right, we have automation tools, right? Most people are familiar with Make, most people are familiar with Zapier, right? Most people don't go enough into these tools to play with them and be like, hey, I want to build something very sophisticated, right? Who here goes in and watches YouTube videos on huge Make operations? What have you learned from watching those videos? Is it fun? Is it not fun? Is it like, why are people doing this? This is terrible.
Well, I watch Nick Soraya, he does editing mostly.
It makes a lot of money.
Makes a lot of money. Yeah, that's really kind of the appeal, I guess, initially, is figure out how to build something to sell to another business owner, which that in a sense is fun.
Yeah.
But building it out takes some time.
And the last class I did, somebody asked me how much you could sell a workflow template for social media automation. And when I told them the number, their mouth dropped. I said, what did you think it did? This is not a $50 toy, right? This agency is going to be using it probably 100, 200 times a day, right? It is not a $50 toy, right? And now they went on like, I got to learn this. This is what money is. So we have content creation tools, right? Who here has played with content creation tools besides ChatGPT? Okay, do you have a favorite one?
Jasper at least.
Okay, good. Do you like it? Is it fun? Yes. Anybody else?
It's a local company.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there's actually a lot of local companies here in Capital Factory, right? And they built quite a bit of stuff. There are some guys here that built an automation tool for social media, and they were going around to all the meetups promoting their stuff, right? They even got on AppSumo. They did this whole promotion deal, right? And they were even one of my classes, like a couple months ago, right, promoting their stuff. And they were shocked that I knew who they were. Right? I'm like, guys, y'all are everywhere. So.
I found that Claude generates pretty good content.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's crazy is Buffer has been around since forever, right? Buffer is like old Silicon Valley days, right? And yet it is still good, right? Because what's the one thing we hate about social media? Scheduling, right? Or even making the stuff, right? I've learned like people just don't like social media. Like every time I do my social media class, half the class doesn't hear what I'm saying most of the time, right? Because they're like up above 40. And then the under 30 are just like, I know I have to do this and it sucks and that's my life, right? It's crazy, right? But it works, right? And that's the other part is like, finding clients today is literally through social media, right? Like if you're not posting, if you're not doing that stuff, you don't exist, right? And now they have Sora. Oh my God, Sora has just changed the game in terms of like getting eyeballs, right? Sora now, in case you haven't realized this, is its own social media app, right? I don't know what to tell you, right? Go home and make your cat videos, using your product. So we also have e-commerce helpers, right? We have the Perplexity, we have the Claudes. Anybody ever use any other foreign ones outside of the US? Nothing China? Anything in Europe?
Exxon.
Okay, yeah. Do you like it? Is it still good? Yes.
I'm adjusting to the UX right
Sure,
now.
of course, yeah.
It's powerful.
It is,
It
yeah.
has a lot of good functionalities, but yeah, I gave some feedback recently to a product leader, and I was like, this is why I don't like it. Like, this feels kind of clunky.
Yeah, I think it was like Claude that used a special browser that this company built for AIs to be able to see the internet. And then as soon as the company mentioned who that company was, their like valuation shot through the roof, and like all of them were millionaires overnight. And it was so funny. I was just like, I went to go look at the browser. Like, it's not a browser meant really for humans, right? Like, it's meant for AI. And I don't ever tell people like, go use this browser. It's like, don't do that. Like, it's meant for an AI vision, right? But yeah, there's a lot of different tools right there. And I always tell people like, build more AI agents now, right? Like, that's a whole new market that people are not paying attention to, right? Like, if I have an AI agent that does just e-commerce, build a tool for agents to use, right? That's a whole new market that's growing. Who here has ever built apps for Shopify, right? You can make a ton of money just building for Shopify, right? So for everything we kind of talked about, you can scan this, you can download the document, so that way you can take some of it home. I don't do handouts, sorry, this is not high school. But yes, you should be able to see the document, you can use it, kind of go through some ideas. Perfect, it works, awesome. Anything that you want to discuss, right? Like, we're sort of halfway through, yes?
Obviously, I mean, I don't want to hijack the conversation with us, but I'm genuinely interested in your perspective on design, interactive design, UX, UI, customer, user research, you know, these types of things, and how you see that evolving in the future as it relates to AI and all this stuff.
So now we're at a point where we have to dynamic design based on AI, where like it can watch your site and it can monitor your competitors, right? And it can adjust your site as needed, right? That's dynamic design now with website building, right? So you can go in and basically say, hey, what are my competitors doing? What do I need to know in terms of design, right? Like if I do, let's say, consulting for lawyers in Dubai, right? I have no idea what that website should look like, right? And I don't need to know what that website should look like because AI does, right? I'm like, I need you to go find every lawyer website in Dubai, and I need you to come back with a template of what I should follow. Give me a color palette, give me text design, give me imaging design, all this stuff, give me a layout, right? And I can do one or two things. I can either go hire somebody to build it, or I can have Claude go in and start building the first part. Let's test it out, right? That's what I would do, right? And then based on conversations online, right, it can go watch Reddit for you, it can go watch Facebook posts for you. I need you to go update the website based on what people are talking about, right? And do that dynamically.
What about, it's websites, but what about apps, SaaS products, that kind of thing?
I mean, this is getting into like Lovable now, right? Like you can go to Lovable
Sure.
and kind of build out SaaS based off of like what people are using, right? How do you know what people are using? Do you know how to check for that?
Yeah, I mean, generally, the basics.
I'm not asking, how would you do that? What would you say?
Oh, how would I do that in terms of researching for a
like the
particular
design for like an app or a SaaS?
Sure.
Right?
I mean, it just depends. I mean, like I have kind of a workflow I'm developing around that. You know, like I go into either Chat or Claude, and I start to get a general sense of what the landscape is like. You know, researching whatever the product is. You know, what the competitive landscape, like I would do normally with like a design thinking process, but using AI to leverage that process, right, to enhance it. And then I'm bringing that into design, right? And then like Figma's got a lot of AI integration going on right now and so on. So like, and then it depends on where that's going to go from there. You know, like if I'm getting into Lovable and what that's capable of, I'm just starting to explore that. So that's the sort of delivery end of like the design thinking process, right? So I mean, basically to be short about it, I can talk about it in the details, but like design thinking process leveraged by AI, same kind of essential steps you know, that are involved in that, but just enhanced with AI.
I would even go so far as to be like, hey, find every designer for UX and UI designs, right?
Yeah.
And go basically watch their videos, right? And then give me feedback on my website, right? Based off of the principles of these people, right?
Yeah.
Because again, AI can sort of watch YouTube videos now, right? It can go.
Okay, because I've had some struggles with that.
Well, remember, it's not watching it; it's reading the transcript, right?
Yeah. So it
goes
doesn't
through all
have a
that,
transcript.
right?
It's not
Right.
yeah.
So we're getting to a point now where it can watch videos if you use Perplexity or something like that, or like you can just have it watch, right? But you need to get instructions, right? Otherwise, it's just reading the script. But again, it still follows principles, right?
But where do you see the future of this, like, as a designer? I mean, like, 'cause it seems like, sorry, I don't mean to hijack, but this is just really interesting to me. Like,
Sure.
you know, like designers, developers, whatever else, and like where this can go. Like, the ability for a designer to be able to take, you know, a concept, an idea, whatever, based on what I researched, and take it from design, from the beginnings of that process, all the way to actually having a full functioning product.
So now you're talking about manufacturing.
Well, I'm just talking about, like, as a designer, having the ability to, you know, like, typically I would be like doing all the user research and everything involved in that, and designing it, doing the testing and so on and so forth, and then I hand it off to a development team, right? But it seems now that the handoff to the development team isn't really as like, it's becoming less and less necessary, or there's a merging that's happening there, right?
Yes. So now you could even go so far as to be like, I want my agents trained in certain styles of website design, right? And then certain product design, right? If you want to go so far as certain designers in the world, right? Yeah, I need you to go follow this person who's designed every famous product for this and study everything they've done, right? And then that's their entire focus is that one thing. So when the work goes through that agent before it goes to another design agent, it gets filtered, so to say, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you need to change this format doesn't work, you need to do this, change that, right? So, and again, you can create as many of those agents as you want. Is that a good thing that you wanted to go through like 7 different famous designers, and then you get this like rainbow mess of a design at the end? You're like,
See, that's the thing, right? Is like designers have that the taste, the understanding of how people use something. There's something that, you know, obviously there's a lot of data involved in the process, but there's also a kind of indescribable essence. You know, there's a ghost in the machine that, you know, I think a lot of designers are able to intuit that makes the design a good designer, right?
Right.
Is that going to be a differentiator, or do you think that the machine is just going to be like, you know?
It'll be a differentiator, but it's also going to be the case that you don't know where it's going to go, right? Like if we go back to the that chip that's, I believe it's Stanford or MIT made, it was the architecture of a chip, right? And they had AI design a better architecture for chip design, and it developed something that they had never seen, right? Yeah.
The genetic algorithm.
And it worked. And they're looking at this like, okay, it works, right? How does it work, right? We don't know why it works, but it works, and it works better, right? At that point, you're going to run into stuff like that, right?
Sure.
And if you're not knowledgeable enough to be like, okay, this is better, but I don't know why it's better, you might look at it and be like, this is crap.
Yeah. Well, let me get into maybe like something slightly more philosophical then, because like, you know, like for example, you were talking about the print on demand thing earlier, and that's interesting, but it's like, do we really want to fill the world with more like garbage output? Do we really need more
Don't
meme
tell that to a
t-shirts?
15-year-old, they get very mad.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, is it a matter of not what we can do, what we should do? Is this where like things are kind of evolving in that sense, where anything's possible? Do we just start to like, then really what it comes down to is the discernment that we apply to the process?
It might be if you're older, right? Like when you're younger, it's about cashing out, right? Because if you watch a lot of the videos who are under 19 years old,
Yeah.
every single one of them is about cashing out, right? And they're like, I got to this, I was able to use AI to do this, and this,
Sure.
right?
That's a trend though.
But
That's
does it benefit the world? No.
Yeah.
Like we don't need an app that helps me like Riz, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? It makes millions of dollars.
I'm talking about young people thinking that way.
Right.
When I was a young person, like selling out was like the worst thing in the world,
Sure.
right? And then I got a little bit older and got a little more realistic, and then I was like, okay, making money's cool and all that kind of stuff, right? That's because that was just the tonality of the zeitgeist at the time.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm not trying to sidetrack you.
No, I understand that, right?
Yeah,
But it does go into the sense of just like, when you are designing, you're gonna get hit with that bug of like, I can make this better. Like, I can go further, right?
And I'm already kind of that stage right
Yes.
now. It's like it's definitely, it's a force multiplier,
Mhm.
is kind of the way I see it. But again, like without that discernment, without that experience and so forth, I'm starting to see a lot of like janky, junky
Oh, yeah,
apps,
absolutely.
you know?
Like, go look at Walmart, look at their third-party stuff,
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah. And maybe that's just a stage we have to get through, because we've already been there multiple times.
Right.
You know,
I mean, if you wanna go further, like, there's a whole world of people using AI to basically build starships, right? You know? And they're following the principles of the Federation and like, how do we make it like actually work, right? And then we go into like architecture design and material design, right?
Yeah.
They're using it for kind of stuff like that, right? And then you get into like energy usage, right? Like the data centers are using AI to figure out like how do we maximize the efficiency for structure, like how do we build it better, right?
No, it's beautiful.
But again, most people don't ever touch that stuff, right? Because they don't even know it's a thing, right? So when I show people like, here, let me show you how to build a building that's energy efficient using these AI models, right? They don't even know they exist, right? So most people, again, use just the top 5, right? But how many models hit the market every week? Hundreds of thousands, right? Every week hit the store, right? Just go into Hugging Face tonight and be like, here, the latest AI model, show me. The number will just astonish you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, it just keeps growing, right? And you're gonna find stuff where, who lives on indiehackers.com? Right? So if you go every day to indiehackers.com, you get like a couple free articles, and then once you miss it, it goes behind the paywall, right? There was a guy that just got really tired of 3D design with AI. He was like, all these tools out there, they suck, right? So he sat down and he used AI to build a better CAD tool with AI, right? Even though AutoCAD has an AI function, how much is AutoCAD to use? Most people don't have the money for that, right? So he came in and built a better one that's for the general public, right? It's going to be one of those things.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Wonderful class.
Yeah, thank you. Where you're going to start seeing more people building stuff for very niche things, right? And what happens when you do that? You're going to build an audience around it, and then who's going to pay attention to you? The guy that wants to buy you out.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right? Because you're just like, man, this has a lot of traction, it works, it actually works. I'm gonna give you 30 million for your idea. Right?
So I guess that's the new exit, right?
Yes. Which is more prestigious now, to get a degree in college or to drop out and exit 3 times?
I guess it depends on what you're going to college for, but if you're looking to make money and
Victorian literature. I really love Victorian literature. That's fantastic. Right? I mean, like, that's what Zuckerberg did, right? Like, that's the prestige now. It's just like, I need to get into an Ivy League school and drop out, right? So I can go make it. If you've never hung out in Silicon Valley and gone to these grind houses, right? And talking to them, be like, how many of you have dropped out of Ivy League? All hands go up, right? I'm here because I dropped out, my parents hate me, and if I don't make my millions of dollars, I can't go home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only reason why you go to Ivy League is for the network anyway, right?
Yeah. You know, I mean, the number of guys I've met here who have dropped out of Ivy League schools and built a startup, and they're like, if we're gonna make it work, right? It's crazy. It's really good because that's the new badge of honor, right?
Well, I mean, like, I've been to a bunch of meetings here, and again, y'all, I'm not trying to hijack the conversation or whatever, but it's like, you know, and I've done like these like quick, and it amazes me how many people have ideas, and they're like, I'm doing a startup, whatever, so then the first thing I ask is like, have you validated your idea?
Sure. Yeah.
And almost nobody.
No, of course not. No. Don't hurt their dreams, because then they find out where they really are. You know?
It was like, you need my services.
I mean, I can't tell you how many guys I've met who run automation agencies, right? They're just everywhere, right? And I always remind them, I say, there's only so many companies you can cold call in the city, right?
Yeah.
Because if there's 100 other guys all running automation agencies, and they're all calling the same industries, sorry to tell you, but you know, after a certain point, those AI agents are going to start calling you back and back. Stop calling this number.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a saturated industry now where like everything is automation, but which is better to sell, right? Like go have a meeting with somebody or like cold call. Right? There's a lot of guys here that do that every day. You know, and
What,
I know a lot of them too.
The cold call part or the
cold calling, right?
Yeah.
Like they clock in 8 a.m. They sit in their offices around here, and they have a list that their boss gives them. They're like, hey, here's your new list for the day, right? You can just call, right? There's one for real estate here. There's one for automotive mechanic shops here. There's one for roofing companies here. I mean, it's crazy, right? So, but yeah, so this is sort of like the last part right here. But again, you're trying to get to a point where you delegate fast, right? Rich people are very good at delegating. Solopreneurs are very bad at delegating because they want to do it themselves, right? So you have AI agents now, right? If you're spending the $20 before the price hike happens next year, go learn how to build this stuff, right?
Where, I mean, I've got my feet wet in a lot of this stuff and all that, but like in terms of building agents and this process we're talking about, like, how do you level up? Like, what would you recommend as far as, the types of resources? I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, but you're kind of structuring. You can use, I guess, like AI to structure your plan for you. But I'm just asking you, do you feel like there's a particular approach that you would recommend?
To building AI agents or your business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the automation agent aspect of this that's going to like take you to another level.
So if you want to get to like the tier level of like prestige, right? Like you get operators, right? Who here uses operators, right? Most people are not. Okay, good. That's amazing. Thank you. So operators is a $200 plan, and it is like the prestige of operations, right? Like you go in and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. I need you to go build my operation workflow for me, right? And it will go in and it will start building everything out, right? That's $200 a month, right? Which will probably be about $500-600 in a few months.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that tells you like, okay, this is what I need to have in my workflow. There might be parts in there that people aren't even aware of, right? Like, hey, this is what I do every morning. This is what's going on. I need you to just build my workflow and then tell me what I need to do after that, right? It will go into the store and then we'll find the agents to plug in if you need to do that, right? If you can learn how to do that, you're ahead of a lot of people, right? Are there a lot of 7-year-olds that know how to do that already? Yes. There's a lot. But it is a very valuable skill, right? Because the same thing that Make and Zapier do now, you can go in and give it screenshots, you can give it Loom videos, you can do all this stuff, and it will build your workflow for you, right? And now it's a matter of just like, okay, I built one workflow, I need to start having filters put in, right? Like another one that checks, did it go through correctly, right? So going back to having an AI agent double check our work, right? You want to start learning how to do that. Right? Building the workflow is cool, it's great and everything, but it's going to make mistakes, right? That's why there's a maintenance fee that most of these agencies offer. Learn how to get an agent to go in and basically be the maintenance person, right? Like, hey, it broke, go in, fix it, right? Check to make sure it's still running correctly, right? That's where even more money can be made, right? But again, find out where do you want to get more efficient, right? At some point, it's going to turn into like a 3-operation workflow, yet in each module it's like 100 different things are happening, right? And AI is just going to improve on that, you know? If you want to take the leap and just go take the $200 thing and go play with it for a bit, see what you think of it, right? Again, go try the Chinese models and see what they can do, right? Again, they can do it for free, right? Just watch what you're giving it.
Yeah, everything's connected. It goes back to the Chinese government.
But again, you know, if you're just going in there and making comic books and you're just using that and just making $1 million off of that, please go do that, you know? And then run your sword videos with it. Which people do already. If you've ever seen those comic book Sora stories, they're crazy, right? But they're making money, right? So it's just a matter of how creative can you get, right? And there's the combination between, what is his name, Zach King, where like you watch the video, right, and you're just like, it looks real, and then it's not real, and then it is real again, and now he makes millions of dollars as like the best marketer in the world, right? And he was just a kid in college, right? Like with what, Vine at the time?
Yeah, optical illusions.
Yeah, optical illusions, that's right. You know? And now you can do that with Sora, right? And if you want to go further, you can use Clean AI or Minimax or all these other, you know, image generation, right? So, but again, the wall you're going to run into is, if you don't know what you don't know, you're not going to know what to say, right? So how do you beat that? What do you say?
Sorry, what was the question?
If you don't know what you don't know, how do you beat that?
You say hi?
But what do you say?
Tell me what I don't know. I mean, like, it depends on, I mean, I guess what you're trying to accomplish with your industry and so forth. But I mean, that's how I would approach it. It's just,
Hey, I'm working on this project, this is
Yeah,
what's going
exactly.
on, I'm not sure what my competitor is doing right now, can you tell me what I'm not aware of, right? Ask me a series of questions that I need clarifying, so you can understand what I'm trying to do, right? Now its scope of knowledge, right, is limited. It's not trying to search everything, right? And it's going to clarify what exactly do you want me to tell you, right? That's what you do, right? So, how do we work together? This is what I do, right? Like, I'm an AI consultant, right? I do AI training. I go through and basically find new AI use cases, right? As I was showing you in class right now, like, there's a ton of different ways to use AI that people are just not taking advantage of. If you're trying to find clients, have AI go in and be like, hey, go look at every single person in Austin that has a public profile, create a list of 20 people that you think I should talk to based on my LinkedIn profile. Right? That's a use case. You know? That's how I work with people, right? That's what I do, right? Data scraping, right? Like, data scraping is powerful stuff, right? Who here uses the Austin Business Journal? Right? Why is it such a great resource? Exactly, right? Like, if you've never read the Austin Business Journal, that every article basically tells you who the person is working on, what company they're with, their information, how to contact them, when their next project is going up. Like, that's valuable information. And guess what? That is a very expensive resource to use. Do I pay for it? No. So where do I get it for free? Anybody want to guess?
chat.
No. Where is a place that you haven't been to in a long, long time that you should visit? There you go.
Oh, the library. Yeah.
Right? And if you have a library card, it's absolutely free. Right? You can go in there, click whatever category you want about Austin, and basically it shows you everything going on, right? Like a couple of weeks ago, they just released the Power List players of Austin. If you saw that list, what would you do with that list? Remember, these are the people that are the movers and shakers of Austin. And then I tell you what I do with this. I know it's Wednesday, but you're not that tired.
What are you going to do with the list? Is that what?
What do you do with that list? Like, these are the most powerful people in Austin, right? What do you do?
Well, first I'll just try to discern whether or not it's relevant to me and my business.
Okay.
If there's anyone there, you know, obviously I might do some more deep research depending on how many people.
Alright.
Email the CEO to get a cup of coffee.
Okay. That's one way of doing it, right? I'll tell you how I do it. I have it go through the entire list and tell me what next public event are they going to be at. Right? And I go to that event. You have to think outside of the box if you're trying to get clients and you're trying to get a very, you know, healthy network, right? The cold calling, all that stuff, right? That's what everybody does now, right? You have to be different now, right? And AI just makes it so much easier. That list is powerful because you can go and make just 5 connections and your life will change.
Yeah.
Right now.
Interesting.
So if you have more questions, I always put this up in case you do want to talk more. I do have a feedback form because I always want to get feedback on how to improve. I know this is sort of the end of the year, like, kind of recap of like what I've done. But if this class does go on next year, then yes, I do talk more about like AI tools and all that kind of stuff. But again, what I'm learning is people just need more training with like getting better at it, right? Just because you have a powerful, powerful piece of technology in front of you doesn't mean you're utilizing it to its 100% value, right? If I was to show you some of the stuff that people use it for to make millions of dollars, you're like, okay, yeah, I guess I need a class, right? But I do have book recommendations. So who here knows this book? Okay, do you know CAA? Creative Artists Agency? They're one of the most powerful agencies in the world, right? They are the reason why Hollywood became Hollywood. And they're the reason why the movies from the 80s and 90s were phenomenal and why we have crap today, right? If you want to know what it takes to start a powerful agency from scratch, this was started back in 1975 by 5 guys that were fired. And they said, no, we're going to do this better and we're going to do it our way. What did they not have that you have today? That's right. There was a lady in this book who basically went home and she wrote a script, and the guys were just like, okay, we'll take your script and we'll sell it around to the studios and see what happens. And she's like, I'll maybe get 10,000 for it, right? This is 1977 around the time, right? She took about 3 weeks to write that script. She came in and the guy's like, look, we'll call you Monday morning, we'll let you know what happened, right? So the whole weekend she was just like stressed out, like, oh, I'm probably gonna get 10,000, which, you know, 10,000 in 1976 was still a lot of money, right? So they're like, okay, look, we're your agents, let us do our job, right? So they called around, they did their things. By the time she left the agency, they had already closed the deal within 2 hours, right? So when they called her Monday morning, she walks in like, hey, we need you to come in. This is very important, right? She thought she was going to lose an agent. She actually thought she was about to lose her job. They sit her down, like, hey, we sold the script. That's going to be movie of the week. It'll come out probably in about 6 months from now. A studio bought it. Here's your check. And they're going to start shooting probably in about 3 weeks, right? She opened the check up. It was $300,000 that they got her. And this is why you need a team, right? If you are working by yourself, you are going to struggle, right? The reason why actors and celebrities and all this stuff are that is because they have a team, right? That is why. So AI is here now. What did she have in 1977? Her brain and a typewriter. You have the most powerful thing in the world. There's no reason why you can't make money today, right? So I have this book right here, Mastering AI, right? So I always showcase different things. So if you want, I can pass it around. If you want to take a picture or something like that, whichever. If not,
this is your book?
I've read all these books. These are from the library. I don't buy books.
Oh, okay.
The Science of Scaling, right? So if you want to see like some principles that help people scale, this is a really good one to read as well. And then this is Click, what makes people click on your stuff and why they want to buy from you, right? So if you are into Sora, read this book. It'll help you with your cat videos. Right? And then this book is actually the first book I read for automation, and it always amazes me that people just don't know about it, and it is so powerful, right? The new automation mindset, it is so good. It gives you frameworks for understanding different levels of automation. Right, so I will let you all pass it around if you want to take pictures, write notes, all that good stuff. So I always give away a book in my class, right? The future of no work. So I will give a question, and the first person to get it right will win the book. Okay, so if everybody's still doing that, all right. Can somebody give me a workflow for print on demand Shopify? Just covered it. You literally just covered it. Was that too hard?
No, I mean, earlier,
Okay.
the trend,
Okay.
trends.
All right, so do you need another question?
Yeah, that's
All right, what did I classify Copilot as? A?
Copilot, ChatGPT?
No.
Oh.
It is a wrapper.
Michelle.
It's a shell. Oh, right, gotcha. It's just a wrapper. Okay. All right, these questions are too hard for me. It's Wednesday night. Yeah. So let's see here. All right, so what was one of the name of the blogs that I mentioned at the beginning of this class?
Like 52 cups of coffee?
That's right. There you go. Yes. All right, perfect. All right. So I have a mastermind group coming up. This will start in the spring. I will let you know that I'm just getting interest right now to see what's going to happen. Basically, this is a build class, right? I show you workflows. I show you like how to basically build out systems. If you're interested, you can sign up. I will send more information probably around like mid-January. But again, these are like I'm thinking between like 6-8 hour build sessions with AI, right? Because again, people use it, but they don't use it to build stuff, right? If I was to ask you to build a physical product with AI, who here could confidently do that right now?
Build a physical product?
Yes.
Like one you can touch.
Sorry, I really made people lazy here. Right? Who could build a supply chain with AI? Right? That's the thing that I'm learning is on a lot of MBA programs, those students are not learning that stuff, right? And yet, there are companies now who have basically gone full force and built out entire logistics supply chains using AI in real time, right? And they're cashing out right now, right? Because the tariffs are causing havoc on so many businesses. They need AI to tell them in real time, if I do this, what is the actual timeline for costs and everything, right? Xometry was one of them that really caught my attention. They use AI for all their supply chain management, and it was phenomenal how they built that out, right? So this is the kind of stuff I cover in these kind of things, right? Like how do you build out those kind of stuff, right? So there is a LinkedIn page for this class, right? So I'm expanding this out. If you want to keep up the stories, actionable things that you should know about, follow the page so that way you can see like, hey, what other events are coming up. And I do give out a lot of tips and tricks on like what people are doing with AI. So.
Cool. What do you think are some of the biggest things that are going to happen in the second quarter of 2026? Like, what do you see like on the horizon?
So one of the things I'm going to notice is, I can tell you already, because the cost for AI is shooting up,
Yeah.
it's going to start weeding out a lot of people who cannot afford it. Right?
That's interesting. So why is it not going down since there's more?
Because tokens cost too much.
Okay.
Like the processing power, right? Who has gotten your notice from your electricity company that your rates are going up next year? Right? Because why? The data centers, right? They're massive, hogs of electricity. So that cost is going up, right? So usage tokens, which is how AI is basically measured, right? But yeah. Those tokens are going up, right? Like when Replit upped their prices like a couple of months ago, look how many people were mad. Like look how many people's companies literally went under overnight because they couldn't afford their new bills. Right? They were paying like $150, $200, and then all of a sudden it went up to like $5,000. Right? So again, they've already announced these price hikes, right? They've already basically said next year everything for AI is going to go up, right? And so that a couple of months ago I said, all the tools that you're used to using in 5 years are pretty much going to cost you $1,000 or more a month, right? So if you use just 10 AI tools right now, guess how much your bill is going to be every month?
And you think that this is across the board?
Oh, it's already going up, right? It's already happening, right?
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, $1,000 tool is going to be the tool that, oh, that's the cheap tool. That's not the one we use, right? It's going to be expensive, right? But again, many people say like, oh, there's an AI bubble, right? Like, Michael Burry is the guy who wrote The Big Short, right? He put out an entire paid newsletter, if you saw that, right? He shut down his firm, and he threw out a paid newsletter, which I think is like, what is he charging, $459 for that newsletter? Basically shorting like, no, it's gonna crash, right? And everything's untopple. And I'm like, yeah.
But isn't that kind of what, I mean, from what I understand, there's a lot of adoption, but not a lot of revenue, maybe necessarily. I'm trying to think of like the best way to
So the thing is, there's a lot of money being made in AI, and if anybody's seen that chart that shows you where the money is, it's actually between all the major players, and it's staying inside their ecosystem, right? So NVIDIA is buying from Oracle, and Oracle is purchasing from Google, and Google is purchasing from, so the money is actually staying inside the circle, right? It's not benefiting the world, right? So if you've looked at the economics of data centers that just came out, who pays for those data centers? You.
taxes.
You. They're not taxes. They're literally like your electricity bill just goes up.
Oh, I see. Utility bills, okay.
Because up north, one person got their electricity bill. It was $3,000. And they went to the utility company and said, why did it go from, I think it was like $100, $150, and then went to like thousands of dollars, right? I said, well, Meta built a new data center. And they're like, I have nothing to do with that. If you look how they're structured, it's like a stadium, right? They do the same exact business system, right? A stadium is purchased basically with no money from a billionaire, right? But if the money is funneled in from the community, they pay for the stadium, and your taxes go up, right? So the data center, basically your electricity bills are about to go sky high. You're paying for that data center. Are you using the data center? You have no idea, right? You have no idea. So the one in Indiana that Meta just built is the size of Manhattan, right? It's massive in size. Right? But why are they building them in these areas, right? Do you know why? Most of those areas are low income.
Yeah.
And they have no idea how the economics of these things work. Right?
So they're exploiting these people, essentially. I know they're trying to do that in West Virginia.
If you look at all the New York Times reports and the Wall Street Journal, like the economics of these data centers, it is horrendous, like what's going on, right? But their excuse is like, but we need AI, right? I was like, you know what's crazy about AI? Right, we need to eat.
We need a civilization.
Right? I know a guy that makes water from air, right? And I'm like, you should be making a killing right now with data centers, right? And that's where he's trying to get into right now, you know? Because
well, they're going to go nuclear, right? Isn't that kind of the
hoping, right? Because that's the push. Unfortunately, this is Texas, right? We don't allow that, you know? So several towns in Texas have already been issued water notices, right? Because the data centers are taking up most of their water now, right? They literally have been issued notices saying you need to cut down on showers, right? It's crazy.
This is wild.
So anyways, this is a feedback form. If you'd like to give feedback, I'd appreciate it. I'll leave it up a little bit. Yes?
Question, would you, I guess, when it comes to even your own services, are you able to like evaluate certain sites, or does that come at a cost, or what does that entail?
When I work with companies, I basically look at them and say, like, what is it you're trying to improve on, right? Like, I need to look at like workflows, like operations, like where are y'all using it now versus like where do you want to be, right?
Yeah.
The thing that most companies don't know is where they want to be with AI. That's such a hard question to answer because they don't know what AI can really do.
Yeah.
So when I sit down with engineering firms and I talk to like, you know, construction companies, I say, what do y'all do right now? Do you know what everybody's answer is? This is the sad part. We use it to write our emails.
Yeah.
The most powerful piece of technology we have now, and people are using it to make their emails look pretty. Right? So they don't know what they don't know, so they're just using it for simple things. They're just like, well, I had to do this document, I had to do a simple report, and that's what I deal with, right? Because when I talk to architects, I say, let me show you how to do your procurement for a building. Give me your schematics, right? I had an architect tell me it takes 2 months for them to do building material lists, the cost, the structure, the pricing, all that stuff so they can do the bidding, right? I did that whole entire process in 15 minutes for them. And they realize they don't know AI.
Yeah. I mean, it just showed up yesterday, you know, literally this year, you know, and that kind of blew up. So it's like I moving so fast, it doesn't surprise me that people are struggling to keep up.
And because it's moving so fast, people really have no idea like what's coming, right?
Yeah.
If you've never read 2041 AI, or you've never read The Coming Wave, those 2 books will tell you what's coming, right? I've mentioned those books many times. Like, just read The Coming Wave, and you will be scared what's coming, right? Because it's not just AI that you need to be aware of; it's robotics, right?
Sure. But I mean, how are we going to function as a? Sorry, I'm going to go.
No, it's okay. It's okay because we have a movie called WALL-E that answers everything. Okay. Please, I'm not blind to this, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, say, if you could like summarize what those books, like, what does it say about like the future of AI?
So the Coming Wave talks about 4 areas, right? Which is synthetic biology, right? Quantum mechanics, AI, and robotics, right? The parts that people are not paying attention to is synthetic biology, right? So who here knows how to create DNA? Right? That was a very expensive process a long time ago, and guess what? Now we can do it in a garage.
Yeah.
Right? We can purchase stuff on Amazon. I can purchase a machine and do my own stuff in the garage. Why is that dangerous?
Well, I mean.
I can
Use your
synthesize
imagination.
anything now. Right? It's not expensive anymore. That means that person who is crazy, that wants to hurt people, can synthesize anything they want. Right? Quantum computing. Who knows how quantum computing really works? Anybody want to give me a simple example? I'll tell you. It works like this. Let's say you see a maze, right? And legacy computers, which is like what I have, what we all have, right? It looks at a maze one room at a time, right? To find everything. Now to us, it goes really fast, right? Quantum computing sees the entire maze all at once, right away. That's why quantum computing is so powerful, right? So when we look at molecular structures, we look at like cancer, we look at all this like high-end stuff, it sees everything all at once, right? And it can process things so much faster. That's huge, right? Now you couple that up with AI. You would think that medicine costs and all these things should drop tremendously. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to go up. I know how to fight cancer, right? I know how to do all these things because I can sit down and do all that stuff, but do I have access to a quantum machine? Right? Robotics, right? Who here watched the robotic Olympics in China like 3 months ago?
I saw clips of it, it's kind of fun.
Right? Most people here, if you watch that, you'd be like, oh shit, they really can take our jobs, right? There was a manufacturing robotics conference in China that basically showed you hard construction robots, right? These robots can grab things that humans cannot. They can work in dark rooms, they can repair themselves, they can take care of themselves, they can replace their batteries, they can do all kinds of stuff, they can work in cold environments, hot environments. So when people tell me, oh no, my job, a robot cannot do that. I'm like, yeah, you're not understanding what China's doing. You really have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah, but robots can't pay taxes, robots can't.
But I get to be on a beach. I get to be on a beach drinking my Mai Tai, running my print-on-demand store for shirts that people don't need to buy.
That they can't buy because nobody has a job anymore.
So we're back to Wally. Look at that.
All right.
But yeah, that was the problem in the book. Was he did cover that, was just like more people's jobs will be shed, right? Supposedly there's going to be new ones on the horizon. I don't know what that means. I don't know where they're going to come from, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can see the creative aspect, and I mean, that's why I was just like, there's a discernment, there's a kind of imaginative aspect that, you know, maybe robots can, you know, generate, but I just haven't seen that human element, you know.
So who here has seen AI, the movie?
Yeah, I saw that one, Steven Spielberg.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Have you all seen AI? Please go watch that. It's here, right? Like when it came out, like people thought, it's a movie, it's cool, that's great.
Sure.
And now you watch it today, it's completely irrelevant. Because nobody thought it was going to happen so fast, right? So when he came out with Minority Report, look what happened then, right? And now we have Palantir, right?
Yeah, fun.
So it's crazy where like, there's a movie called Wrong's Gone Wrong, right? Have you heard of that movie?
Wrong's Gone Wrong. No,
Yeah.
that's a new one.
Yeah, it's okay, because nobody has, right?
Yeah.
So it's a Disney movie, and basically in that movie, every kid has an AI companion, right? And every time I speak at high schools and middle schools, I say, go watch that. I say, because when you have kids, if you have kids, your kids will never know what a driver's license is. They will have no idea what a phone is, right? They won't know what apps are. They won't understand any of those things because they will all have robotic companions, right? Their son who has trouble making friends will have somebody to play soccer with, to go watch movies together, go play games, and that will just be a normal thing to them, right? And you know what happens every time I tell teenagers this? That's creepy, that's crazy, that's gonna happen, right? I said, raise your hand if you can handle one day without your phone. Just the thought of them not having their phone scares them, right? I said, your son or daughter will never know what a phone is, but that robotic companion will be with them every day. And when you are that parent who doesn't buy them a robotic companion, guess what you get to become? The bad parent.
Yeah, there's already like schools that are banning phones in the classroom, and they're seeing because like they're seeing an uptick in attention and behavior and so on.
Yeah. But again, robotic companions can do what, right? It can sense that, hey, you're nervous, you're having trouble making friends, I can help you, right? When you watch Phones Gone Wrong, you start to see like that is the future of where things are going, right? Because every kid has a companion, and every companion looks out for the kid, right? It can talk to them, it can have conversations with them.
And the fragility in that though is terrifying. We already see it, today, and that's just like a magnification of that fragility.
I guarantee if you go watch that movie tonight, you're gonna look at that movie and be like, why do I hate this movie so much and like it at the same time?
Yeah.
Right? Because the evil part of the movie, you won't even, I guarantee you won't even guess who the evil part is. And then when you see the evil part, you're gonna look at your phone and be like, damn you.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much, because it's a great movie, right?
Makes me think of Dune.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, I know we're pretty much at the very end. Does anybody have any other questions? I mean, please go read those books. AI 2041 will probably scare you,
I have, do we have, parking,
Yes, I do, right, yes.
Cool.
So it's right here, so if you need a validation, it's right there. And then also remember, Wednesdays, anything 10th Street and above is free parking, Wednesdays through Saturdays. So, cool.
Hey, good stuff, good conversation.
Yeah, glad you liked it.
Are you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
Thanks so much.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm having a lot of fun with like making videos.
Alright.
That's usually
Yeah.
where I
I mean,
am.
it's definitely weird. Like
Just connect.
I've never done anything like that in my life.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
But
right
I've actually
now
like
it
people
just
like
shows
DM
us
me
like
and
this
then like come up to me and like talk to me
but I
and be
just
like,
converted
hey,
to
I really like what you're doing and
just
like,
because I'm
yeah.
starting to get like curious and things like that, which is a big
That's
thing.
crazy.
And of course, got like,
I'll probably come up once if I, hopefully,
gotta
if I
embrace the
win some
haters,
funding,
though.
that's when I'll probably start announcing more about what I'm building.
Right. So you're building something. You're going.
What would we do as far as like
consulting?
You were mentioning like the micro
Yeah,
like you know.
and honestly,
So
it's
what?
the main thing
So
that
here's what I'm
my,
thinking. Like, have you been to Cosmic Pickle yet?
Yeah.
Okay, it's right across the street from here, right?
the
Have
main
you been
thing
to
that
Sweet
my
Beans yet?
clients care about.
It's right across the street.
exercise,
You'll probably like Sweet Beans a lot. Anyways, so they're like a eatery, right? They're outdoors, they have a coffee shop and all this stuff. And the thing that I was thinking was, influencers need to make content, right? And it's a really
I've
cool
been getting
spot.
really great feedback
But
about
do
it,
we
and
want
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
interactive
people, like,
aspects so you understand what it's collecting
making
and data.
videos and all that stuff, so other people are
More
sitting
like
down
you're
doing
saying,
that stuff, right? So
off
I thought like
set.
if we did an
Or
influencer
off
meetup,
in there.
maybe we should do it like at
Just
Simple
like
Steps,
us.
right?
Yeah.
But more like
You know that
more
is,
like
right?
programming.
You know, it's big hills
Absolutely.
downtown.
Is that where
So a lot of
the
it's like
elves-
automating workflows,
is that-
kind of
That's
what
the
he's
part.
talking about, so
That's the
find out
part.
how
I
equals.
mean, like, that's still a good spot. I just need to make sure that
But
there's
with the
free
recapture
parking
thing that I'm
lot.
doing,
Yeah, yeah.
that's making sure that humans have access
Because
to
that way
that stuff.
everybody can
Because there
use
are
it,
still
they
things
have
that
a big
humans have
open
to do.
space and they can.
I mean, one of them even was talking about
But
something in the
here at
pilot,
Palmer Event Center,
pilot start
Riverside,
completely new AI
and,
capability.
Barton Spring.
So there's certain fields that are untouched.
I know, but like
And so
I
you have to
just
make sure only humans.
I don't know these spots.
So this is like downtown, and the reason why I say like that would be a great spot is because it has the downtown skyline as a backdrop, right?
Yeah.
And then using that for everybody's content would be phenomenal, right? That would be amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't mind just hanging out.
Oh, sure,
I just
yeah,
felt
yeah.
like there's so much to talk about.
Oh yeah, so
Hi, this is PJ.
PJ, nice to meet you.
me, I helped him start doing social media. Yeah, please, absolutely, yeah, take questions. And then you want this one. So he's been doing social media and he took all my advice and now he has an audience.
Oh, really? What do you do? What's your background?
So like personal branding kind of stuff. I'm a student at St. Edward's University. I play college baseball and do Fiesta there. And I just kind of like talk about like my experiences, like stories about my life or whatever, stuff people can relate to, and just like whatever I want to share. And then from that, like I've been able to like attract other people around campus and like network with them, and then kind of like build stuff from there. And so that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I just started like a week ago. So
Okay.
yeah.
It's still good. And Chris gave you results.
Yeah.
But you know, when I saw his thing, he had 38 followers. Like, he had 38 followers. What do you have now? Almost 2,000?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
But you're more of a personal brand. I mean, unless you have like an angle. Do you have an angle? Or is it just basically, hey, I'm a PJ?
I guess we're not just considered personal branding, or yeah.
That's cool.
So the idea though is like, you know, many people just don't take social media seriously, I've learned, but like Austin has a lot of social media influencers.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
And so that's the thing I'm talking to him about is I want to throw a micro-influencer meetup so that way people who have like under 50,000 subscribers come together and like they collaborate, right?
Yeah.
And they can build their audiences a lot faster because again, you're going to collaborate like maybe a foodie person and somebody who does unboxing videos and somebody who does pranks and somebody who does car stuff and
No, but you know, this is the reason why I drove down here. I come down here sometimes is because I'm from Silicon Valley, and I relocated to Dallas. So my justification for Dallas was because it's a bigger metro, and airports and all that. Here is more like Silicon Valley, just the kind of vibe and just like the quality of people here is just like you get it. Up there, it's more, they're nice, but it's just different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like right now I'm building out a software platform for business, and so I'm going to market right now. So it's like I need to be like with other people who are grinding all night long. I don't have that there. So basically I'm kind of like, well, I'm sure they're out there, but like they're just more siloed or
right.
You know, they're not really open to like network, or they just have their own. Everything shuts at 6, and then they just do their own thing, whatever. But I'm just saying, like coming down here, and I'll go to Houston.
Yeah.
You know, just having this kind of conversation. It's like so. Well, I mean, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, like it's one of those places just like you can talk to people and know what's going on.
Have you, I'm curious, have you been able to find like a lot of opportunities? I'm from Houston, so I don't know. I didn't know like if there's like.
I'm going to Houston either tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
The thing is this, I need to be in because I'm in California. I need to be in Texas for at least 183 days a year, and so in a way it's like I need to figure out how I can like come here more often. Like stay, because I normally travel a lot, so I need to be able to stay in. I need to be in Houston. So my angle is that this year was my first year out of California, which was difficult. I spent a lot of time in Dallas, but I think now it's like I need to diversify my time between Dallas and Austin and Houston. So
I mean,
I'll just check it out.
Like if you're looking for like where to be in Austin, where like there's a calendar that just tells you all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you know when to be in Austin.
Oh.
So that way you don't miss the big stuff. But
yeah, it's 3 hours, but I mean, really, like what I do in 3 hours, like when I'm driving, I'm there. I'm like going back and forth to ChatGPT, which is like, what about this? And so in a way, coming down here, I got so many ideas, and I'm not that. I just copy paste, or I just talk. I don't know. I just talk while I'm driving.
Yeah.
And I listen.
Yep.
So it's a little bit, but I'm like, okay, I just go like speak and I listen,
But do you have it set up projects as you're doing that, or do you just have it talk?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't do the talks. It burns out to my tokens.
Sure.
So I just do the speak. So I just talk to it and voice to text.
Got it.
And then spits it out. But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's more like therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't. Okay, so for me to fly to California, whether it's Southern California or Northern California, it's 3 hours. So basically, DFW is 3 hours from where I need to go. I travel a lot, so to me 3 hours to drive down here is just like me flying to California. But yeah, I would say just like the kind of, I think the quality that is here versus is not the same. So it's good to come down here too.
In Dallas, you don't like it in Dallas?
I don't talk shit about Dallas because they're nice people. Like I said, they're very nice. It's just, Chris, did you grow up here?
I lived in Austin for a long time, but I grew up in San Antonio, but I've traveled a lot. So.
Okay. So how would you describe it? I mean, we're both Texans, so like, how would you both describe Austin versus
Austin's a young person's town,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's a
But
young person's town,
more
right?
energy.
Like, the stat is always to remember every August, 250,000 young people come into Austin, right? And every May, between 150 and 200 leave, right?
Yeah.
So the dynamics are constantly changing, right? So once you remember that, you always remember Austin is very much a progressive city of change, right? Because you come here, you go to universities, there's hundreds of new companies that are constantly built, right? There's constant students going into communities and doing stuff and running projects. When you don't have major universities as the center point of a city, it becomes stale, right? It becomes routine. So Austin is constantly changing, right? Like you go to campus, in the campuses, there's always something going on, right? There's always life happening. Right?
PTA.
Yeah, he's down that way, right? But again, you go over there and you find out like what are they working on, what are they doing. The progression in college life though is like freshmen are like, I'm kind of new here, like I don't know where to really go, so I kind of just follow like the older kids and then as they progress they get older and then all of a sudden they're just like, I know where to go and I show the cool stuff and I know where the best place to have tacos and by the time they graduate they're just like, right? Or they built a company here and now they work for somebody and then they're like, this is my life now, right?
Yeah. I mean, what I see coming from Silicon Valley is that Silicon Valley is where San Francisco is where, like, at least with the top of the top, they go there. It's not the local. I'm from there. I grew up there, born and raised there, but none of my, I don't see anybody from high school that I see on CBC. Because everybody just invades. They take over. And because it's just like pure meritocracy. It doesn't matter. Like if I say I'm from here, so what? Like you're gonna buy the whole street, and that place is like, there's no like, there's no regret. Like it's all competition. Whereas I think in other cities it's more like, oh, but I've heritage here. You gotta respect me. And like, okay, I can go over there. But just what I'm saying like is that what I think is happening, or what I see is that Silicon Valley, San Francisco is more like production, so creative production, the top of the minds of the world, it is what it is. But then other cities are more implementers and consumers of that technology. And they just implement it whatever like industry they want. Here at Austin, I would say this is more like, and don't take this wrong way, but I think it's more of a third tier tech city. Second tier would be Seattle. First tier would be like London, New York, and San Francisco when it comes to DC money, where people come here. Second tier for the US, I would say, would be Seattle. And then here, I would say, because it seemed like it happened also during COVID. So many people came, but then for some reason, it's changed, I said. For some reason, and I think that there's a lot of brain training. So what I see is a lot of people left here for whatever reason. Maybe they had like to go to the office. And so I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, locals will stay here. But what I see with Austin is like it's more like Boulder. It's tech, but it's like a Boulder type of city where I think people went to school they like Boulder, but they don't want to leave. But there's like limited opportunities. But here, I mean, there is like Source Logic and Apple and all that. But I think at the same time, like I think Austin's trying to find its way as well, post Newtown to.
So if you want to get granular with Austin, how that demographic looks is entrepreneurship is very young here, right? As you get more north, right? Like once you get to the Domain, Brown Rock, that area, the co-working spaces over there, most of those people are 45 and above, right? They all either have 9-to-5 jobs, and they have the money and the support to be able to work on something else. So when I go over there and I work with people and I talk to them, it's a very different mindset, right? It's not I need to grind, because I have a job, I have money coming in. So it's like, I don't care if I make it, I just want to see if I can do it, right? It's very interesting, right? Because you go to WeWork and the Domain, most of the people there, you don't feel like a rush of like, I have to be successful. Right?
They're not staying late. Even the kids, they work 24/7, they check out at 6.
Right. They got bedtime routines to do, they got, household chores to do, and all these things. And most of them have homes, right? Most people here do not have homes, right? They're renters, right? So it is very interesting how that demographic works. Now, if you want to go further, Now we go West Austin, right? That's where all the millionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires live, right?
Or BK.
BK, right? So I've worked in Westlake for a long time, and that's a very different place, right? You go over there and money is just everything, right? The homes are just massive, the yards are massive, the kids just, they think like every time they go on break, they have to fly somewhere exotic, right? That's just their life, right? Now we go East Austin, right? Where people are struggling to pay their bills and most of them are homeless or they're barely scraping by, and that's where college students live and people who got kicked out of their homes live, and it's very different, right? But it's a very expensive city to live in, right? The cost of living index for Austin is the same as New York, right? So, and because a crazy person said, hey, all you rich people come move to Austin, guess what's gonna happen? So, I don't know how people survive in this city, I really don't, because the median housing price here is $680.
Oh, yeah, higher than Dallas.
So even if you make $350 a year, you still can't buy it. It's crazy. It's crazy, you know. But yet, you go to Westlake and man, people are buying homes. You know, doing great over there.
So, Chris, like Chris, like I noticed like your background is digital nomad, and then and then you also have like a venture studio. Do you have like, did you guys have fun, or is it just you and some people some I don't know.
So mine right there is it's not a venture studio for investing, right? It's a venture studio for consulting, right? So I know venture studios are made up of different funds and different investors, things like that, right? But yeah, I do clarify that. Like I'm more of a consultant, right? Like I go around because I travel and everything. But I will tell you, it's interesting because it's viewed as a fund. I get into a lot of parties, and those give me a lot of connections, right? Is it a caveat? I have no idea. Like I just came up with the name, right? And I have met some interesting people because of that, right? And yes, people do ask me like, am I investing in their businesses, right? And I say, well, not really, but you know, I can tell you where to go, right? Like who's doing what and who's funding, right? Because I have the entire list for that, right? But it's one of those things where like, as soon as you say that, then like, here, can I have the list, right? I'm like, you can have the list, but they're not gonna talk to you. Like, that's the hard part people forget is like, investors are not like, yes, let me give you a check for $100 million, right? Does not work like that, you know? And if you don't have a warm intro or if you don't have a reason to be there, I can't tell you how many times I've met guys here that are just like, we email every single VC in Austin. I'm like, right, because they don't ever deal with that.
Yeah, so you've been here for a while, but what I'm understanding is that your business model is cash flow. Are you building a product? So you're very knowledgeable.
So what I do is I show people how to build stuff, right? Like I'm technical. And that's the part that people think I'm theory, right? So like when I sit down with somebody, I say like, what is it you're trying to build, right? And then once I understand what they're trying to get to, then I show them the steps of what to build from there, right? If it's a certain like software they need to use, if it's a certain platform they need to use, I go through all that training. The hardest part I deal with is the social media part. Because they can build a cool product, but if they're not going to market it, what is the point of their product, right? Because everyone here has a mindset of if you build it, they will come. Are you looking for everybody's product? Yeah, see? So eventually we run into a problem where like social media becomes a thing, right? And I've met a lot of people here who are just like, my idea is too important, I can't put it out there. I'm like, okay, so then what are you doing? Like, are you just hanging out and having fun and being a young person? It's hard, right? Because they think like, no, I need to get an investor, I need to get funding, and I need to get everything legal and or somebody's gonna steal it.
Like I don't know. Do you go back to San Francisco?
Every now and then, like Tech Week, right?
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
So
Right? But I get all the newsletters for all the events in San Francisco, right? So I have a lot of invites to a lot of big parties over there. But it all depends on like, you know, making time work, right?
Right.
but I do get invited to a lot of fire chats from like all the like special executives that put it on. But again, that's normal over there, you know?
No, I'm just saying like what I see most recently is that a lot of AI companies, not all, but a lot of AI companies are understanding how to make money quickly.
Yes.
It's like a smaller team. And then some of them, when they get to a certain place, they're generating revenue, they don't really get VC money.
Right.
It's like there's some funding.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
right.
got the money. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I gotta get funding," it's like, well, if you take the Silicon Valley or San Francisco, like these young kids coming in,
Right.
they really figure out how to make money. So
Yeah.
basically, all they need is seed, and that might be it.
Right.
So there's no precedent on it. Because
Exactly.
Laura's like, like, if these kids can do it, then why they wouldn't take, the people who really make money, they really de-risk the investment for the seed money is all they need. And
That's
for
true.
example, unless you're doing like household income.
Right. And I don't know if you saw that article about that guy who was hiring a whole bunch of engineers, and one of the requirements was you have to do a minimum of 90 hours a week, right? Because that was the new mentality for like.
Oh, you mean 996?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's something
That's a workhorse.
Yeah, exactly.
But look at them, they became billionaires.
Right.
That is from UC Berkeley.
Yeah. And many other like younger guys are like following that model, and they're like, we got to do that, right?
No, that's what I see out there. They're not even drinking.
Right.
And there's no girls. There's no girls.
Oh no, I mean like they're completely celibate, and they're just like it's work, and then like we're waiting to either cash out or get bought out, right? For exit, right?
It's a bubble.
Right, exactly, right? There was an article that came out in the New York Times called "A Swarm of Young 20-Something Guys," because there's no girls, right? Who come to Silicon Valley to like build, and they showcase everything going on, and man, these guys are working hard, and they're raising millions in dollars, right? There was a guy that came in basically like, I will replace your human employees, right? He put up all these billboard signs around San Francisco. I'm sure you saw it.
I'm not there all the time.
But it created so much controversy, right? And guess what happened? People bought his product, right? Because it created controversy, right? Is it good?
It's like reverse, reverse psychology. Like you see something to trigger somebody.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Tate, on purpose. Like I'm sure most of the time it's like just triggering people.
Right, rage baiting.
Right. Because negativity will have a longer coverage than like, oh, it's nice.
Right.
You believe these things?
It's just one of those things where like you have to be in the public eye, because otherwise if you lose it, they forget about you, right? And one of the things that most executives who are good at that game, that's what they do, is they create controversy. They create like some reason to be in the news all the time, right? I don't want to mention a crazy person's name, but they're very good at doing that, right? So does it work? Yes, right? And that's why like some of these social media influencers will purposely go out and create some controversy to get their name out there, right? Otherwise, you're just another person making a food video. But yeah, Austin is a very interesting place because like once you get inside that inner circle of like the investor groups, and then you get down to the private equity, right? Yeah. And then you get down to the core people who make the deals, it's a very different city, right? Yeah. If you can get in those rooms, you sort of, as they say, made it in Austin, right?
So,
Oh no, yeah.
But what I'm doing, so I know you're doing, you do like digital marketing, you try. Yeah, ditto. So I'm doing that as well. But one thing that we're doing, like, kind of like what I told everybody, what I was doing, but also like, coming from what I see from AI. Yeah, I think like software, for instance, you look at the stocks at HubSpot, Adobe, Salesforce, they're all down 25% because the market doesn't understand how they're able to shift the model from like license to managed services and AI. You have to really shift it. Even if you look at, Sierra? Oh no, Sierra AI. Brett Taylor's company. So he was saying that like, oh, we only get paid based on results or some kind of like KPI. So it's not about, oh, we're just gonna try to we gotta do something because basically be able to produce something home calls or
Right.
So what I'm doing is I'm looking to disintermediate. Well, my target audience are non-typical business owners.
Okay.
That's why maybe it's good on Dallas because I mean here's like Silicon Valley. It's great to like come out and just chit chat, but if I gotta like go to market, why am I gonna go to market with all these other dudes? They're gonna be like this. But it's good to have an intellectual conversation. But I would just think like this. So in a way like I don't have the same kind of like intellectual discussions technically. Not on mass as I do here, or other places. But what they do have is like a huge market. And anyways, what I'm looking to do is, it is kind of like I have to do my own bubble because if I hang out around and just like the normies who go to tech, it's like I'm going like so backwards. It's like this is crazy. Like I should just shut my mouth. Like, I don't really want to listen to them because it's just clogging up my head.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that I come in as I know what's going on, so I see the future. And so what I'm looking to do now, like I'm just doing marketing. Yeah, but basically my target audience are going to buy these like non-tech businesses. And so if you come in, or I want to raise the fund. If I had a fund plus my technology, then I'm like an investor operating. I don't need I'll just like hey, this company I'll look at the financials, okay, investors and at that point it's my fund. Sure. So they just want to do is just like really less cost but yeah, I mean like that's what I'm looking to do. It's like I know PE is huge in Texas. More so I would say I'm sure there's PE out there, there's PE in New York California, I think there's like PE is especially huge for some reason. Texas is
It is, yeah.
Is it just like they prefer not to do venture because it's so risky, but they prefer to have more tangible like give me EBITDA, I understand it, but if you give me something that's may win or lose and then lose it, if you're gonna carry like you don't get it.
That's kind of that mentality here, right? So like hanging out with some of those guys, you see like what they're paying attention to, right? Who's doing what, right? So like when I mentioned Austin business journal, right? That's the list they're paying attention to. It's like who are those players that we can be a part of, right? Firefly, are you familiar with Firefly? They're an aerospace company here that launched like several like spaceships to the moon already.
So are they still in partnership with SpaceX?
I don't know if they are. I don't really think they are because they're their own like entity, but they are a portfolio company here, right? And so, but they're based in Miami, right? They have massive amount, they have massive amount of land for like all their vertical launches, right? And I've met the CEO many times before he became famous, right? And he IPO'd this year, right? You know? So again, that's who private equity is paying attention to because we have the Texas Space Force Commission now, right? And so, because of those projects that are going on, they want to be a part of that whole new like industry that's working, right? That's where the money is, right? Because if I can go in and start like making money doing that, there's a company here that does space insurance. You know what's crazy about that is they've already raised millions of dollars. Space insurance.
Yeah, but like anything that's like up and coming, there's gonna be
Yeah, you know, but again, the challenge that people have when they come into the Austin tech scene is just like, I need to build something great, and then the money will come, right? If you're not connected to the equity people here, private equity, and you don't hang out with them, you're not on their radar.
Yeah. But that's like the new first thing. I live in New York City, I live in some places, and I know how people are trying to do it too. Networks and Silicon Valley, I can just tell they're young, but you know, oh, this is just like the movies, and you know, some of them kind of like bang it in, and some are just kind of like, this is not like, young people, post-doc companies.
Sure.
You know, you see some like young girls, like coming on the media side, like, oh, they're trying to, shop media.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't hear about it. It's just, system, right, as a world.
Yeah.
And that probably is, because the thing is, like, I think with Texas, it is probably, it just is shown differently. Presented differently in Silicon Valley.
Right.
And I'm not saying like in Silicon Valley, I don't see Larry Ellison, or I don't see like Sergey Brin, like any like startup guys. No, like they're all in the company, they're all in the bubble, and they're not gonna go out of this. I'm just gonna put that aside. Only the ones who really get slowly into that. You never see these generations. So my point is that somehow if you make it work, then somebody can like that is your escort people.
Right. So is that what you're trying to get to?
My style has always been I'll make it my way, and then they will come to me, or they will be able to my action. I'm on it. I mean that's fine, it's just my best. But I'm just saying like I don't need to like do my takes. I'm so old. You know, so I'm just building my company.
Yeah.
But it's different than doing my team. Yeah, but yeah, the main thing is basically I'm going, I need to break in. I want to break in. Because you're the ones that get to see these, like, service companies and say, oh, okay, yeah, he's doing something different. I don't want to, what I need is, what I want to do is just, so that way, it's okay. You're going to listen to your phone, this is your pieces, if your technology, this is what you're doing, to acquire them, if you're going to be them, this is what that's going to be good return to our investors. But anyways, like that's,
So we have to be out of this room in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk more, we can go upstairs.
Let's go.
Yeah. I just need to move my stuff over there.
Can I help you?
Yeah, take this real quick, and then, can you take this? And we'll go upstairs.
So you're studying, DJ, you're studying, your CS, okay?
Yeah, and math.
Oh, your future.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I'm a freshman.
What's the approach now with courses when it comes to, are they saying use AI tools?
Actually, they're very, they encourage it, and like,